What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Capitalism caused it all. Um, a lot of the issues that people have, whether it's racism, classism, sexism, feminism, I hope I say ageism, you know, but all these isms come from the one root thing of capitalism. You see, when you think about it, this quote unquote a capitalist society, but nobody ever paid the natives for this country. Nobody ever paid the Aborigines for Australia. Nobody ever paid the Central and South Americans for Central and South America. So that form of capitalism at its root made is the foundation for everything else. Meaning you could take some shit that's not yours and then you couldn't even build upon it. People that believed in capitalism, they didn't even build this country. They needed the natives to do it. And in the United States, that didn't work, so they brought in Africans to do it. And then when they couldn't do that anymore, they brought in immigrants to do it, who were 9 times out of 10 trained by black people who were doing the work prior to them coming. So, but at the root cause of this was what? Capitalism, i.e. money, right? And it's not money in the way that some people think, to me, at least. It's lifestyle. So people are always talking about somebody needs to, how much money a person has, or how many things they can buy, or where they're going, and how they're living. That's because that's what capitalism breeds. It breeds jealousy, envy. Because the way the system is set up, for the most part, you're not going to be rich by your work, your own blood, sweat, and tears. You're going to have to get somebody else to do your work for you, and you reap the benefits from them doing your work for you. So, in that umbrella, in that root or umbrella of capitalism, you get everything else. You know, slavery is part of it was because of capitalism, and the thing about it was, I remember when President Obama got elected in Louisiana, in New Orleans, they had the white neighborhoods. They had these signs in some people's front yard says we should have picked our own damn cotton. And I don't even want to get into that, but I'm using that as a reference for this. See, those people couldn't pick their own damn cotton. They couldn't plant their own damn tobacco or food, just in general. You know, what it was they needed somebody else to do it for them because it was just too much work. But riding around and looking fly, that was their thing. Oh, I got everybody to do my work for me, and I'm so stellar for this. So that's bullshit, but that's what it is. So the race came from, I need to keep the people down that know how to do all the work to actually, because part of this is racism stems from the capitalism part where the oppression came basically in a sense from oppressing black people because those were the people who actually knew how to build the countries because they could build a separate country or a separate thing. That's why a lot of our endeavors of separation are usually unity. Our endeavors when it comes to unity and just separation in a sense have always been looked at as a threat to national security because that kills the capitalism because that means they got to do the work that they never would do to maintain this country even because they never built it. So same thing with classism. You know, the higher you get up, the more people you have working for you. The richest people have people working for them. You don't see that many rich people who work for themselves and got where they are on their own merit with just them. They had to get a team to do this, and then a team and then they got bigger, and they got another team to do that, and then they got bigger, and they got another team to do that. And it's just, business is a big ass pyramid scheme where probably the most intelligent person is not really the person on the top of the hill. It's somewhere in those teams getting a piece of the pie, because they're actually the masterminds of creating the whole business dynamic. But it creates the tiered system. That's the bourgeoisie, elite bourgeoisie proletariat kind of thing. Same thing with feminism. I did a video a long time ago saying feminism and racism have the same business model. To me, that's because they do. All form of capitalism. Feminism is, I want to be equal to a man because I want to be paid like a man. I want to have the money that men make for the labor that they do or do not do. The equality is strictly in pay. And the funny part about that capitalism is that's part of the family court divorce and separation thing. That don't necessarily mean that they wanted to work for it, because you can get the same amount of money divorcing somebody, part of the problem with the no-fault divorce, as you could if you work a job and you might want maternity leave, but you still want the same exact pay, which and working time doesn't make sense. But that's a whole nother story. That's the same thing what I mean when I talk about ageism. People don't like people because, with time there's wisdom. So people don't like older people, not because they're wisdom, but also because business companies can't benefit off of their labor because they're older and slower. They might be smarter and efficiently get things done, but they're a business liability because it might cost more to keep them there because of their old age, health, and body breaking down and that sort of thing. So everything really revolves around this concept of making enough money off of somebody else's labor to enhance your particular lifestyle and to keep theirs relegated at a certain space. Because if you're making your money off of them and you're living high off the hog off of them, you don't want them to get on your level because they know how to do more than you. So because they know how to do more than you, at the same time that they're working for you, they're also a threat to you. So you got to keep them at a certain level. That's the glass ceiling type of thing about it, So I said feminism. That's part of the thing with sexism. Sexism is a great model for that, because sexism basically says because you're this sex, you do these things. Because you're that sex, you do these things. And sometimes women feel subjugated as sexual objects because the physical labor you won't be able to do as efficiently as a man. But at the same time, it's a play on capitalism from women, because I had a baby, and that baby is is my life's work. Which is, if a guy says something like that, like, I worked 9 months straight and I brought home $1 million that 1 year, after them 9 months, I don't have to do nothing else ever. The shit will not slide. But that's the capitalistic part of it. You have to maximize your returns on whatever you do while you're minimizing your effort. So that's all I got to say about that. I'm going to watch the game. Peace.